Hello, and welcome to another episode of Homework with Miss Thomas. I am Miss Thomas, and today we will be exploring Lesson 9 in Module 5. The objective is to use area model and division to show the equivalence of two fractions. Let's jump right into it. All right, so each rectangle represents 1. We are composing in this lesson. So different from the lessons prior where we were decomposing, we are composing, which means we are putting smaller units together to make an equal larger unit. We're composing the shaded fraction into a larger fractional unit. We are expressing the equivalent fractions in the number sentence using division. The first one is done for us. So in this first one, we had a total of 4. And we had 2 shaded. That's 2/4. Then we made groups, or we composed groups of 2. So then we had 2 groups of 2, and 1 group was shaded, which is 1/2. So the division would be that the 2 groups divided by the groups of 2 equals 1 group, and then the 4 total units divided by the groups of 2 is 2 total units. Let's look at the second one. For this one, we have 4 shaded out of 8. We can compose this here by making groups of 4. So I'm going to first copy the division equation, 4/8. We make groups of 4, so I'm dividing by 4. So I have 1 group shaded out of 2. So 4/8 is equal to 1/2. Let's move on to C. For C, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shaded out of 12. I can compose groups of 6. I can compose 2 groups of 6 and 1 group is shaded. So that will be 1/2 too. We have 6 groups divided by 6 groups of 6, right? We started with 6 shaded, but we made a group of 6. So that means we have 1 group shaded. We started with 12 total parts. We made groups of 6. That equals 2 shaded parts. So 6/12 is equal to 1/2. For D, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 14. I'm going to make, or compose, I should say, groups of 7. So I'm going to do that 7 divided by groups of 7 and the 14 divided by groups of 7 to make 1/2. Let's go on to number 2. Compose the shaded fractions into larger fractional units. Express the equivalent fractions in a number sentence using division. So for A, I'm going to make groups of 2. And again, we are composing here. I have 2 shaded out of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I made groups of 2. So I'm going to divide 2 divided by 2, 12 divided by 2. That equals 1 group shaded. See, now there's 1 group shaded. And 12 divided by 2 equals 6. So if you notice here, we have 1 group shaded out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups. So 2/12 is equal to 1/6. Notice how we're starting with a non-unit fraction, and then when we compose it, we're composing it into an equivalent unit fraction. Another way to say that is we're putting it in its simplest form. For B, I'm going to compose groups of 2 again. I have 2 shaded out of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I compose groups of 2, so I'm going to divide the 2 by 2 and the 10 by 2. What you do to the top, you do to the bottom. What you do to the numerator, you do to the denominator. So 2/10 is equal to 1/5. For C, I'm going to compose groups of 2 again. I have 2 shaded out of 2, 4, 6. I have 2 shaded out of 2, 4, 6, 8. So I'm going to do 2 divided by 2 since I make groups of 2, and then 8 divided by the groups of 2, making 1 out of this last one. I'm going to also make groups of 2. So we're dividing by 2 all around. We have 2 shaded out of 2, 4, 6. So that's 2 divided by the groups of 2, 6 divided by the groups of 2, to make 1/3 as the equivalent fraction. For E, what happened to the size of the fractional units when you compose the fraction? When we compose the fraction, the size of the fractional unit became larger. So I'm going to type that. When I composed the fraction, the size increase of the fractional unit increased. Right? We had these, in the last one, these small units of 6. Then we had units of 3, but the thirds was larger. So the size is increasing. What happened to the total number of units in the whole when we compose the fraction? There were fewer total units. There were fewer total units in the whole when I composed the fraction. All right, for number 3, they want us to show 4/8 for the first one and 6/12 for the second one. They want us to compose, rename, and write the equivalent fraction. So let's do 4/8. I'm going to do 4 rows. I'm going to think, what times 4 gives me 8? 4 rows of 2, because 4 times 2 equals 8. So I'm going to do 4 rows. This is 2. Then I'm going to cut each of those in half to make 4 rows of 2. I'm going to shade 4 of them for 4/8. I'm noticing that this is also 2 groups of 4, right? I can compose that. One group is shaded, so that means 4/8 equals 1/2. For the next one, we have 6/12. So I'm going to make 6 rows. I'm going to think, what times 6 equals 12? 2. 6 rows of 2, because 6 times 2 equals 12. And I need to make 12s. So I'm going to cut this in half. Then I'm going to cut each half into thirds. And then I will have 6. I'm going to do 2 columns so that I have 6 rows of 2. I'm shading 6 of them. That is also 1/2, right? 6/12 equals 1/2. Now I'm going to express the equivalent fraction as a number sentence using division. We started with 4/8 for this first one. We did some division. It equals 1/2. I'm going to write 4/8 again. I make groups of 4, so I'm dividing the top and bottom by 4 to prove that 4/8 equals 1/2. For 6/12, I'm going to copy 6/12. I divided or made equal groups of 6. So I'm doing 6 divided by 6 and 12 divided by 6. For number 4, For the first one, we want to show 4/8. So that will be 4 rows of 2, just like we just did. I'm going to shade 4. In the second one, we're going to do 8/16. So I'm doing 8 rows. Eight rows of 2, right? Because 8 times 2 equals 16. I'm going to shade 8. Both of these are 1/2. Four eighths equals 1/2. 8/16 equals 1/2. Then they want us to express this using division. 4/8. That's 4 divided by 4 because I made groups of 4. That's 8 divided by 4 because I made groups of 4 equals 1/2. And then for 8/16, 8 divided by 8 because I made groups of 8. And then 16 divided by 8 because I made groups of 8, that equals 2. So 8/16 equals 1/2. All right, that does it for the homework for lesson 9 in module 5. Thanks so much for watching. Till the next time, keep learning. See you later.